Yep, we're live, baby. Rolly, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I'm gonna go ahead and make a quick intro to our podcast of the day, and then we'll go ahead and introduce you real quickly, and we can talk about anything and anyone. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us today. We have our special guest, Rolly Gonzalez with Josh Moody Loans. We have his information there. We'll let him introduce himself in a little bit. Today's episode is gonna be about football. We're calling this episode From Gridiron to Greenbacks, the journey of a loan officer with Rolly Gonzalez. You know, Rolly is a former football player, former collegiate football player. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rolly, at any given time. And he coached football and was a teacher and now is doing some of the loan stuff. So without further ado, I'll let Rolly introduce himself real quickly. And just know that we are on the Martinez RGV Homes Beyond Realty, the RGV strongest realtor, where we talk about anything, anyone, and not just real estate. So, Rolly, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, first of all, Luciano, man, I appreciate you having me on this thing, man. This podcast of yours, man. I've been, I can tell you this much. I've watched your podcasts, pretty much most of them. I'd say about 75% of them. You do a great job, and I'm glad to be on with you and all this stuff. And you know, a little bit about myself. Yeah, I was a teacher coach for a long time, for 18 years, pretty much all over the valley. Just, you know, kind of always, you know, how this coach's life. You just continue to keep moving around. And I believe that's the best thing for a coach to do, is to move around, because you grow. You meet different people, your network grows and all that stuff. So, but now kind of deviated from that and now to a more of a real estate life, which is, you know, developments and, you know, mortgage loans, but it's still the same kind of ordeal as far as coaching. Networking is a key, and just being able to go out there and you know, hustle, motivation, but mostly just networking and have a great time doing it. So I really enjoyed it.
Oh man, I'm glad you're here. I really am. I know we haven't had the opportunity to work together just yet, but I appreciate you taking my calls from time to time. I know you've helped me out with a particular person here, a particular person there, and you know, we haven't had an opportunity to close something just yet, but we will. We will. So you mentioned something real quickly. You talked about coaching here and there. Where have you coached?
Well, I've coached. My first coaching job was in San Benito, Texas. Obviously, San Benito High School, the Greyhounds. Shout out to San Benito Greyhounds, right? Purple and gold. Really had a great time there coaching there. Coached there 4 years. Really had some great mentors. One of them was actually one of your mentors.
Coach George?
Yeah, George Espinosa, you know, shout out to him as well. I think he's moved on from the coach's life as well. And I believe he's a principal, right?
I think so.
Like for high school, like not the assistant, but the actual principal for high school. Yeah. And so he was one of them. But of course, I was mentored by another, you know, Rio Grande Valley legend, Mario Pena. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And his 3-stack. Yeah, and his 3-stack, you know, he loves his 3-stack defense that he made very famous about. And then talk about, you know, initiation of coaching. I was the offensive line coach for Coach Claude Bassett. I don't know if you know who he is or not, but well, Claude Bassett, he's been around, you know, in the collegiate level with some great people. You know, he was 17 years at BYU. I mean, he coached like Steve Young, Jim McMahon, you know. And it's cool because you'd be there, you see his coaching picture. You have like, you know, all the BYU guys, which would be Andy Reid. He's in the Super Bowl. He was in there with them. Andy Reid, you know, he was there. Lavelle Edwards, Mike Leach. All those guys are all, you know, BYU guys. And the West Coast offense, so I was very fortunate to coach with him. And then from there, he went to coach high school. And then obviously went back to University of Kentucky, you know, working under Hal Mumme. You know, Mike Leach was the wide receiver coach, and you know, Tony Franklin was the OC, and he came back to coach high school. And so I was mentioning him, and you know, it's very cool. And then from there, went to Harlingen High School South. Was the offensive coordinator for a coach by the name of the head coach was Gilbert Liao. Mm-hmm. He's now the athletic director there at Brownsville ISD. You know, shout out to him, by the way. He does a great job. Did a great job this year, obviously, with Brownsville veterans. Shout out to them. They had a great season this past
year. Oh, yeah, dude. They did. Hell of a season. Hell of a season for Brownsville vets, man. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
But they in the fourth round deep? Four rounds deep?
Yeah, fourth or fifth round. Yeah, I think it was semifinals, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was semifinals.
Yes, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, wow, man, cool beans, dude.
Yeah,
And
so
then
he was there, and of course, our defensive coordinator was, and by far, great man, great guy, loved him. Coach Michael Salinas, who's now the head football coach for Texas A&M Kingsville.
yes,
A very traditionally powerhouse program in football. Back then, it was NAIA, but now he's there for a bunch of Hall of Famers, and all that stuff. So,
Rolly, let me stop you right there because I feel like you have jingles of years of experience.
I've been around.
How long did you coach for?
18 years.
18 years, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
So you got about 8 or 9 years on you, man. Wow. That's what I was saying. Like, I kind of lost you with some of these older names because some of these older names, some of them I had heard of, but like I've heard of Mario Pena, George Espinosa, because yes, George Espinosa was the head coach I worked for, the very first one, right? But immediately when that happened, where he was no longer at La Jolla, you have Coach Farias, who was my coach when I was in high school, and then you have Coach Flores and Coach Venecia, and those coaches were my coaches when I was in high school. So to a degree, I can say I related a little bit more to those guys in terms of like, I guess, following or mentorship, especially Coach Flores. I don't know if you know Manny Flores.
Sounds familiar.
Manuel Flores. I know he was at Edinburgh for a while, but he's from La Jolla, I think, originally, if I'm not mistaken. He also was a student of Mario Pena, and I think Mario Pena. I mean, what's his name? George Espinosa and Manny Flores were from the same. I guess I don't know. I may be wrong, but they might have been from the same tree or something like that.
Right.
Yes, but Manny Flores was my high school coach when I was in high school, and so I kind of related to him a little bit more, know, because we're from I you know how they say you build that background with that one student, the background knowledge. Well, he was my background knowledge, if you will, and so I just he was one of my. I could honestly say he was my as a coach. He was the mentor for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, man. So cool. So then you went to Harlingen. Was it Harlingen or Harlingen South?
Harlingen South.
But you were native from Harlingen, right?
Yeah, I'm born and raised here in Harlingen, all that stuff. So this is where I'm born and raised at. And then from there, I went to Edinburgh Vela, the Sabercats. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And we opened up that school, and obviously Coach Michael Salinas was our head football coach there, and all that stuff. So it was great to be there, and seeing some guys do some great things now. They're in Vela, and obviously that program now is one of the premier programs in the Valley.
Yeah. Did you see that recent interview that all these coaches like Gilpin and what's his name from Westlaco East, they were all giving him what's his name?
Burgett.
Yeah, Burgett. They're all giving him mad props, and I don't know that coach from Edinburgh, but what's his name?
Which one from Edinburgh Valley? Campbell,
yes. I don't know who he is, but they were giving him mad props, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. And he's done a great job. You know what I'm saying? I still have some buddies there that are on staff that I still keep great touch with and I'm very close to. And I root for him all the time. And of course, another one that was on our wide receiver coach at that time, but now he's the head coach at McAllen High School. Shout out to Pat Shelby, great man and all this stuff. Does a great job there as well. So, and then from there, I decided to come back and take, you know what, man, I was finally had the opportunity to come back to my alma mater. I had to take a step back. I just went 12-1. It was a long journey, 4 years of Edinburgh Vela. We were 0-10. We scored one touchdown. That was on defense. I mean, it was definitely a rough start that first year because it was first year varsity.
Back in Harlingen, the Cardinals.
Yeah, right. But I was talking about Edinburgh Vela though. When we started that program, it was definitely rough. We had kids that we never even knew. And in 2 weeks, we got to get ready for a varsity game. You're like, what?
Yeah.
But it was great. And then came back to Harlingen High. Took a step back because, I was from Harlingen. So I was a head football coach there for the freshman team. Had very much success there. And I really enjoyed it. And then obviously I moved up a couple of years, became the offensive line coach at Harlingen High. Enjoyed that too. Great talent. I'll talk about Harlingen High. It's got some great talented kids, man. And
they've always had great talent.
Yeah, very.
I mean, as far as I can remember, see, I wasn't too in tune to the football around the Rio Grande Valley when I was a middle schooler, but I very distinctively remember when I was a freshman in high school, where okay, you're facing these programs, and that was the division, what is it called, the first round, second round playoff games, and that's where La Jolla was playing Harlingen, and it was one of those like, let's go. So I remember my cousin played football for La Jolla back at that time, and that's when I first started to realize that there was football outside of like this little region from Mission, McAllen.
Right.
I didn't know any better, I do remember that Harlingen Cardinals were pretty well stocked. They always had some good talent out there, man.
No doubt, no doubt. And believe it or not, I worked for them. Our first boss he's the one that beat us our first year there in La Jolla. It was Coach Mario Pena. I don't know if you were at the game or not, but they beat us 4-0.
When was that? What year was that?
1995.
No, dude. I was only in 1995. I was 5 years old, bro.
Oh my God. I was 15. So
I wasn't even ready for football at that age, man. You know what? And my dad tried to get me involved into some football programs here and there, but it was very hard for him to take me to the practices. He couldn't take me to the practices, or at the time I wanted to play tackle football, but it was one of those things where you had to pay for all the equipment and all that. So my dad didn't even take me. He says, "How to get next year." Finally, I hit middle school, and I didn't even play football in middle school. I went to the teacher academy. I don't know if you know the teacher academy.
No.
It's now called BETA or business something to that effect. It's the South Texas ISD, and I think they don't have sports, right? Maybe be wrong, but I went out there 7th and 8th grade year, and then I came over to La Jolla wanting to play football, ready to play football. As a freshman, I was 15 years old. But I was at 5 years old. I wasn't gonna play football. We got a shout out from Rene Flores. Do you know Rene Flores?
I do. Met him
Yeah.
a couple times, man. He's actually does a great job of pest control, and we'll go as we go along. He does. We're doing our development, so he does all our insect stuff as far as when we spray before we lay the foundation, termites, all that stuff. So yeah, Rene Flores, man. Shout out to you, man.
So then Aaron Garcia too, right?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Aaron Garcia, un pelón igual que yo, también igual que Coach Flores.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there.
Coach Garcia was my one of my high school coaches growing up. In high school, he was one of my high school coaches. He was a defensive line guy. I think at the time I was man, I wanted to play. So in 6th grade. Get this. In 6th grade, I weighed 242 pounds. I was short, chubby, and slow. Wow. And I wanted to be a running back. That wasn't going to happen. So I decided to lose weight, and I get from 242 in the 6th grade to like 180, 185 as an 8th grader, ready to say, hey, by the time I hit freshman year, I'm going to want to play football, and I want to be a running back. Según yo, right? Man, I was too slow to be a running back. We got a shout out from Liz Chavez. Hi, guys. Just stopping by to say hello.
Thanks, Liz, for joining. Thanks for coming in. She's,
yes,
I wish her the best of luck. She's also Josh Milone's developer, and also she's running for judge.
Cool.
Here in Cameron County. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I wanted to be a running back, but I was just way too slow. You're talking about dropping all that kind of weight and never ever running. The mechanics behind it were just off, and even when I ran, all my friends used to make fun of me. They used to say I ran like a penguin, called Pinguino, side to side. So I wasn't fast enough, man. So coach says, "Let's go be a tight end, a fullback." I think he put me at fullback first. I wasn't the B team, right? Go be a fullback, and then all of a sudden he says, "Sabes qué? You're still too slow. You can't run. You don't know how to hit the hole." So he says, "Sabes qué? Go be a tight end." I couldn't catch balls for shit, So suddenly he goes, "Sabes qué? Just go be an offensive lineman."
Right.
But with that said, being an offensive lineman is not a bad deal. I wish I would have gone in there with the mentality, "Sabes qué? I'm going to be an offensive lineman," and I'm a lineman at heart. Having gone through what I had gone through as far as high school playing years and college playing years and coaching years, I'm a lineman at heart. I love my big boys. I will take care of the big boys as much as I can. When I first started coaching, there was this one big dude that we had, and I remember jogging on the sideline on the across the field, around the field with him, and man, he was starting to slow down. I remember very distinctively, I would just give him that nudge, give him that push. Let's go, push, 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 and I was jogging with him instead of running, but I was running right behind him, giving him that nudge, and I remember that. So I'm a big boy at heart. I got another shout out right here from Diana Martinez. Get back to y'all's age difference.
Hey, Dana, I know her too. She's great. We've done some deals, and I know she's part of your team, Luciano.
Yeah.
She does a great job, man.
Greenbacks Platinum, baby.
Yeah.
Man. So how old are you, bro? I'm just kidding.
I still got my hair. Look at that, man.
I started losing my hair when I was like 23, 24, dude.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that's genetics for me. So like, and one of the things so I grow hair. We're totally not talking about football nor real estate now, but I grow hair like from here down, man. Like I hate that. So I look like a payaso, and so I rather just shave it all off.
Hey, you look good, man. Represent.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, man. So I'm a big boy at heart. I love my offensive lineman, defensive lineman. That's what I was passionate about. More so because I like a little bit more violence. I like the defensive side. That's just kind of like how I preferred. I was never very what's it called? I was never a defensive lineman. No, I'm gonna rephrase that. I was a defensive lineman sophomore year, and I think in my previous podcast we talked a little bit about my nerve damage, and then they just put me at the offensive side. So, but in college I was a defensive lineman. Yeah. So,
and then going back to what you were saying, man, I was a lineman too. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, though, part of being a lineman, you talk about a fraternity when it comes to football. But it's when you're a lineman, it's a brotherhood that's even more that you get, which is the closeness. It's just a different feel when you get in that room with they're like become brothers. Being a lineman, you know what I'm saying? And
so
go ahead.
Those offensive linemen they're funny. Offensive linemen are funny. Like I don't.
We're goofy.
Yes, as big as offensive linemen are,
right?
They're goofy. They're funny. They're teddy bears. But they're good on the football field. They got some good quick feet, and they have to protect the quarterback. But they're funny, man. I don't think I've ever been a part of a football team where the offensive line is just not a funny group of guys. Like they're funny. They're fun to be around with, and they got this particular character about them. I enjoy that. On the defensive side, defensive linemen, they're not as goofy. So that it takes a little bit. I like to hang out on the offensive lineman.
And I'm going to be honest with you, what I love about offensive linemen, okay? And then, what's the big thing that we always talk about when you start the New Year's? You know what I'm saying? You want to be what? Get fit, get healthy, lose some weight and all that stuff. Being a lineman, they love being fat. And there's no shame to it, And think about it though is that they're not fat, but they're bigger guys. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the linemen, by the way. You're not fat. You're just husky, like we used to say.
Right? We're gonna get a couple of comments on here. I'm just kidding.
But hey, I'm a lineman, trust me. But I mean, think about we show a lot of pride in what we in being big, and then we go out there and play hard and be mean, but the best part about linemen, they're goofy, they're funny, bunch of characters. And there'd be a lot of snack eating, that's for sure.
And they're very smart.
Yes,
I think that if I had to say which is the smartest group, I mean, obviously the quarterback has to be pretty smart, right? But I think the offensive linemen are, I think, in my opinion, famously known for being the smarter individuals on the football team. You have to know que se quieren flores. Offensive linemen are smart, baby. I think they're the smartest individuals on the team. You got your quarterback. Obviously, he has to know all the plays and all the formations and all. He's got to read defenses and all that good stuff. But I think the offensive linemen are, if not the smarter individuals, the second smartest individuals on the field, because I think that they have to, is this defensive lineman going to block this way, attack this way, or attack that way? What is the defense give me? So I think they have to be very, very smart individuals, and I think they have to be, just intelligent individuals overall.
Right, I agree.
And I wish that would show a little bit more in the classroom. I don't know, man, but because they're very smart individuals, they have to be. How do you know all this football stuff and all this football knowledge, but then not perform in the classroom? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what your take is on that.
I mean, it's all about, we love football and we go through class. I think sometimes, I mean, this is probably a bad way to think of it, but sometimes we go to class just to play football,
Oh yeah.
and,
Oh,
and
I was a teacher just so I can coach football.
yeah, exactly. Right. There you go. Yeah. I had to be a teacher. I'm a football coach, but I have to be a teacher. Right. And all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But I'll be very honest, really. That started to change for me the latter parts of the years as a teacher and a coach. I wanted to take a step back from coaching, and that was a lot for me. There was a lot happening, and I did another podcast with another individual. His name is Rudy Mendez, and he asked me to be on his podcast. And shout out to him, Mendezville Live. If you ever been out on his show, and he's a good guy, he's a good cat. But one of the things that I started to see in the student athlete mindset was it was more about the athlete part versus the student part. And the teacher coach, you're a teacher first and you're a coach first. So you try to teach that to the student athlete where, hey, you're a student first and then you're an athlete, but they don't seem to grasp, some of them, not all of them, don't seem to grasp that concept that you got to perform in the classroom so that you can perform on the football field or in your respective sport. Being a teacher, being a coach, and I don't know about you, but like for me, dude, I was a nerd all my life. I was a nerd. I'm a math teacher. I didn't quite fit in with the normal jock. You know what I mean? I was a nerd, dude. Like I had glasses up until God knows when, until I got contacts in college. But I was a nerd, had my goofy look. I was chubby. I was, put my glasses on like this.
Were the specs? Were the spec goggles?
No, I actually didn't have to wear those. I wasn't blind enough for those. But we got a quick shout out from an Abigail Alonso. She says
Realtor
hi.
just talked today. She's awesome.
Cool.
Hi, Abigail.
Hello. So I was that guy, and I took pride. For me, it was one of those things where my dad says, "Hey, if you bring in home anything lower than a B, you're not going to participate in the sports." That was my dad. So you're not allowed to perform on the football field or any sports or any athletics or any events, because even chess, or any UIO events. You're not allowed to. So for me, that kind of stuck. You got to perform in the classroom so you can perform on the football field. So for me, that's just like a sense of pride as a student athlete, right? I'm a student first, and then an athlete, and then you take it. You have that sense of pride. That's the way I feel. That's the way that I've always felt. But more so in the latter years of my coaching career. And don't get me wrong, I may go back to coaching. You never know. But for me, I started to have this, like, I don't know if it's a resentment or something, to where, bro, I wake up at 4 a.m. for you to be here to get stuff ready, and I get home at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night sometimes, for you to just for you to turn around and just stab me in the back. You know what I mean? By XYZ reason. I have some other reasons as to why, but that I call it stabbing in the back because you're bending over backwards for these students.
Coaching isn't easy anymore, man. Coaching is not easy anymore.
Today, you're right. Today is not easy as it was back then, because I remember we used to be. I mean, I don't know if you ever were, but I remember being cursed out a couple of times. Not so much cursed out, but like, dude, they used to call you some names. And so you just took it. You took it. And obviously, I'm not talking about cursing out some students today, but I'm just talking about that the mental toughness aspect of it. Just all around, man. It's the way I feel, and that's why I'm no longer coaching. Mm-hmm. And obviously the money factor. I'm not gonna lie, the money factor is just another one of those. You're spending all these crazy hours, taking crap, if you will, from certain individuals, and you're just like, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't taking crap. I was just like, for me, it was annoying to have to put up with it. You know what I mean? Students, your own athletes cheating in your tests. That's the reason. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You have your own football players, your own athletes cheating in your test in your classroom, and that was my trigger. You know what I mean? So then COVID hits around, I get cabin fever. But what I'm
Mm.
trying to say is that the student athlete mindset has been changing gradually, and it's just maybe it's not just the student athlete, maybe it's the student body period, where it's just changing in general. And I just wanted to take a step back and not have to, for the lack of for not being paid as much as we would like, to be able to do that job, where you're away from, family and friends, for being 4 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night, coming home late. For me, it was just one of those like what's it called, reward versus I don't want to call it risk, but
Risk versus reward.
yeah, but there was not so much risk. It was just
Right.
there wasn't enough reward for it. You know what I mean? So that's why I took a step back from coaching. I miss coaching. I miss getting after guys. I miss celebrating with the guys. I miss correcting. When I have to correct. I miss congratulating them when a congratulation was there. I miss all that. I miss the sport, but I don't know that I could. Right now, I don't know that I could go back. There have to be certain circumstances for me to say, "Sabes que will take you back." One of them is probably not be a teacher. I'll go coach and just not be a teacher.
Well,
So maybe
that kind of
what
goes
I'm really
hand in
talking
hand,
about is
doesn't it? That's a huge issue because they kind of go hand in hand a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I know. But for me, that was my trigger as to why I wanted to step away from coaching. There was obviously the pay, the hours, and the student athlete mindset. For me, that was the biggest one. But I took over the screen now. Let's go back to you, Rolly.
No, man, that's great. That's great. Yeah, you're just venting a little bit. So
oh yeah, dude. But that's the point. Like
Yeah.
that like it was what it was, and I love real estate. For me, you get into teaching to want to help individuals in the classroom and whatnot, and sometimes. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but even when I got started teaching, you had one or two, three troublemakers per class. At the very end of my teaching career, it wasn't just one or two troublemakers; it was like 9 or 10 troublemakers. So there's a correlation, there's a trend that wasn't going anywhere good. I don't know about you. Excuse me a quick second.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Go ahead. Tell me a little bit about your transition.
Well, my transition was I love coaching. I coached for 18 years, loved it, and all that stuff. But my difference was I got out of coaching just because of the politics. Okay, politics played a huge part of me getting out of coaching. The thing about
Do tell.
Huh?
Do tell.
Oh well, that's just trust me. Have I been offered to go back into coaching? I have. And luckily for me, I was very fortunate. One of my best friends, and now he's my boss too. Said, man, I think you do great. Come with me and all this stuff. Hop on, do whatever it may be. But obviously you can tell by my experience and where I've been and who I've coached with and the trees and what I've learned. And obviously, I've left playing college football. It became a little bit too what's the word? Threatening for some people, I believe.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a Harlingen guy, born and raised here and all that stuff. And the thing about it though is that my thing for coming back to Harlingen was to give back. Coaching is about is rewarding. You know what I'm saying? What I miss most about coaching, and I believe, look, trust me, I understand where you're coming from. Coaching is a hard business in the classroom. You not only that, you're in meetings. You know what I'm saying? You're there from schedule. You've got deadlines of certain things that paperwork needs to be done and filled out, and you only have so much time for lunch before your next class, and your conference period is short, and you got emails to parents and phone calls, and then you got to coach. And then you're coaching on top of that, and you got to make sure your kids are good, that they're at practice, and make sure they're in the right state of mind. Because sometimes you got kids that are not from the background of very come from very positive influences. Right. So you do the best to be mentor them and all that stuff. And then the hard part then is that once you're done, you keep doing all that stuff. You get prepared for the next day. By the time you get home at 9 o'clock at night, try to shut it off, and then to try to shut off the coaching mode to be a father or a husband. All that stuff, and then it becomes repetitious, and it's a tough business. But what I miss the most about coaching is building the relationship with the kids.
Yes.
That's the thing. But again, coaching's tough. Politics play a huge part of it, and then not only that, then teaching. But when I got into this real estate thing, I'll tell you what, man, it's been so much fun. I've got to meet you. You know what I'm saying? And talk to you a couple times, and text messages and phone calls, and doing this now. Diana Martinez, who's part of your REMAX team, I've met her. I've had great times with her, and we've done that, and so we're developing. It's just been it's like coaching. You just network, you just grow, and and if you can help each other out, that's what it's all about.
We got a quick comment from Rene Flores here. Says Washburn University. What is an Ichabod?
Ichabod. What is an Ichabod? Yeah, there you go. Washburn University Ichabod. That's where I graduated from. That's where I played my college football at.
Oh.
Okay, so do you want me to get into that? Want me to answer that question?
Yeah,
real quick?
go for it. Okay, I'm curious. I don't know I don't even know how to pronounce that word. Ichabod.
Well, let's just long story short. Okay, let's go. Let's just do this. Okay, I played at Harlingen High School. I had a great career in high school and all that stuff. I was offered many, to go anywhere and all this stuff. I was offered, to go to Kingsville, but I chose Washburn University, a Division II school, MIAA, and shout out to them, right? Again, shout out to my mother, right? And the toughest Division II conference in the nation. Well, I chose Washburn because I had never seen snow. Most like Rio Grande Valley kids, they've never seen snow, right? So I said, you know what, I'll go and all this stuff, and I took a chance, And the biggest thing with me is I didn't have a safety net, like what I'm saying. I didn't have my father passed away when I was 6 years old. My mom worked 2 or 3 jobs, and then going to 8th grade. My mom had stage 4 breast cancer. So, we were very, I was very in an unfortunate stage. When my dad died, my mom was 8 months pregnant, and my sister never met my father. So, of course, I was kind of the man of the house a little bit and grew up, but I wanted to go see snow. So there I am in Kansas. And I said, you know what, I'm going here. They offered me a full scholarship. I'm coming here. Screw it. And I tell you what, it was I'm never going to forget, man, my first team meeting. It was eye-opening. I saw, you walk into, hey, what's up, Joey? What's going on, my man? He does a good car business, man. Anyone need a car, give that guy a shout out, man. Give that guy a call. Does a great job. We'll get you a car, I promise you. Thinking about it, though, is that, I went to Washburn and team meeting, right? Luciano, you're from La Jolla.
Uh-huh.
How many Latino Hispanics are in your team meeting when you walk in?
In La Jolla?
Yeah.
Everybody was Latino Hispanic.
Exactly my point. When I walked to Washburn, I was the only one.
So you didn't have to go that far for that. Yeah. I went to Austin and I got myself, man.
Well, I went there and trust me, you're talking about some farm guys, you know what I'm saying? I'm 6'2", and I'm pretty tall here in the Valley. Well, I go in that team meeting and I'm like, man, this fullback is 6'1", just jacked up, and all this stuff. And so I'm the only Mexican in there, you know what I'm saying? Everyone else is about 65% black, African-American. The rest are all white. And of course, I got one Mexican guy, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm never going to forget my first practice. I'm out there. Of course, I don't know if they changed it up now, but freshman year, our freshmen, they used to put, back to square one. They put your last name on your helmet with the athletic tape. Gonzalez. I'll never forget. Shout out to a guy named Brandon Rayner, by the way. He comes up to me, fullback from Houston, right? And he literally walks up to me. He looks up, he looks down. He's a sophomore, man, stud. Good-looking guy, man. Think about, you know what I'm saying? And he goes, Gonzalez? You Gonzalez? I go, yeah, man. What's going on, man? You Mexican? I go, yeah, man. What's up? Shit, you're the biggest Mexican I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So I went to Washburn, man, and went there. But long story short, going back to Renee Flores' question, what's an Ichabod? Washburn University is right there in downtown Topeka, the big square. A tornado went right through the whole city. You know what I'm saying? Or went through the whole university, right through the middle. Well, it used to be called Washburn. It used to be called University of Kansas in Topeka back in the 1800s. Well, a guy by the name of Ichabod Washburn, right? That was his name. Where he got Ichabod, I don't know. Maybe from Ichabod Crane or something. I don't know. The guy by the name of Ichabod Washburn, he donated $2 million. Well, early 1900s. That's that's big time money, right? To get the university back up and running because he was a graduate there. And thing about it, though, is that the university said we are now naming Washburn University, looking for a mascot, and it's him, Ichabod. So it's a studious guy in a book with, and he's.
Was he wearing glasses?
He was wearing the little glasses right here, where he hangs.
That was y'all's mascot, the Ichabod?
Yeah, there's a mascot, Washburn University, the Ichabod. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something different, So it's cool. It's cool. Hey, so I wanted to touch back real quickly because while you said something, it triggered something, and I wanted to correct something that I said earlier. Um, just because it triggered it. I coached powerlifting. I don't know if you know that, but I coached powerlifting
Love it. So that's great sport now.
for 11 years. In that aspect, in that manner, I shout out to Coach Espinosa about this. He made me the head powerlifting coach, and I didn't know anything about powerlifting, and I just, he was my mentor for that. So I was just I forgot that I coached powerlifting for a quick split minute, man. So
I tell you what, man, powerlifting has really grown big here in the valley, man. It's awesome. Great sport, man. Mm-hmm. Great sport.
And so for that I learned a lot from Coach Espinosa. You triggered, I don't know what the thing was. Hey, you the biggest Mexican I've ever seen. I was just so the reason that triggered is this. In the valley, I don't know how acquainted you are with the sport of powerlifting here and how much obviously it has grown, but in the valley, the Mexican population is one of the strongest populations in the state of Texas. Like you have state champions in powerlifting coming from this area, especially in the female powerlifting association. But the Mexican body or Mexican physique is just short, stocky, and it can power lift.
The perfect physique for powerlifting.
Exactly. So when you say you're the biggest Mexican, that kind of just triggered that thought, and I wanted to come back to that powerlifting and Coach Espinosa. He was my mentor for that.
Shout out to powerlifting coaches out there that are anybody that watches me. You guys do a great job. I do enjoy watching you guys compete, and I know it's going on right now. And the kids here in the River Valley do a great job, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I went to a meet about 2-3 weekends ago, and it was the first meet of the year, of course, right? So I saw a lot of people getting disqualified and bombed out and walking out the wrong way. And it happens every year, but there's one major rule. You don't walk. So like when you squat, you rack up your squat, you don't go out in that direction. You don't go out forward. You have to go back out the way you came from.
Correct.
So I saw a lot of kids walking out in front of the rack, and that's terms for disqualification or bomb out, DQ. And so a lot of the judges were being very lenient. So, but yeah, man, you triggered that thought, man. For a quick minute, I forgot I coached powerlifting for 11 years, dude. I was a head powerlifting coach in La Jolla for 11 years, man.
That's awesome, man.
And I learned a lot, and a lot of people told me that I kind of like was Coach Espinosa started that program, the powerlifting program there, and the second year was there. He made me the head coach, and it just a lot of people gave me some mad props about having taken the program from where obviously it had just begun to where we got it, and a lot of my kids didn't want me to leave when I left, but it was something that I had to do for me. Right. But anyways, I don't know. Just you triggered that thought. I'll go ahead and let you go back to your.
It's all good, man. Love it.
So you said something too that kind of like resonated with me. You're talking about like you were the only Mexican kid in that team meeting. I may have not been the only Mexican kid because there was a couple of others. So George Martinez from that area that you're from the Cameron County area. I don't know if he was Brownsville or Harlingen, but George Martinez Coco, he's from that area. Rene Hinojosa, he's from the West Lago area. Those were two Mexican kids that were there at the university that were also walk-ons. While I was there, because Rene was already leaving, and so was Coco.
At Texas, though. This is at Texas?
Yeah, this is at Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So while I was coming in, I think Rene was leaving, and I think Coco had one more year in him. I can't remember. But yeah, man, when I came to the defensive lineman, I was the only Mexican there, the only guy that was there. So that was always fun for me. But I love that, man. I love being there, and I love my years there. But it was a culture shock to go to Austin and learn to not be around just the Mexican population. That was something. And I actually I tell this story to a lot of people. It's just like boom, it was like holy cow. We got another comment here. Thank you both for your many years of dedication to higher education.
What's going on, Jen? Jalen, she's a good friend of mine, so she's on. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, man. So, anyways, coming back to you, dude. Let's continue. So, we've talked a little bit about your high school, and then the lending stuff. We talked a little bit about your coaching and transitioning into loans. So let's talk a little bit more about the loan stuff. Let's talk to the people that are out there listening to us. What do you guys provide? What do you guys do, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, well, a little bit about the way we work, man, is that I'm always available to you 24/7. That's the way I work. My job is to get application for your clients. The first step is getting pre-approved, right? I mean, that's the first step to buying a home is getting pre-approved. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, though, is that the reason why it's good for realtors to call me and why obviously networking has helped and all that stuff and dealing with great realtors. I've never met a bad realtor. I mean, think about it, you guys work hard. You guys do a great job for your clients, man. And think about it, those that and the best part about me is that the client doesn't even have to even turn on do anything on the internet, doesn't have to go online to fill anything out. All they do is just call me or I call them and I put the application in for them and I just start asking them questions real quick. And of course, I know the application process inside out. So we can move it. So the application takes 10 minutes. Many times the client's like, that's it. I'm like, that's it, man. That's all we need to do. So the most important thing is getting the application in because, it is. Sometimes when you're filling the application out, you get frustrated. Oh, I don't want to do it. Or, what, I'll do it right now. And then you go home and all of a sudden something pulls you away from it and you forget doing it. And now you're prolonging the house buying. But once you get the application in, then that's how the ball gets rolling, and all that stuff. So I kind of take the frustration out of the client, and then the kind of the waiting game for the realtor, and I get it going for them, and obviously we can get our clients that when we work together a beautiful home.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So tell us a little bit more about so Josh Moody. Who is he?
Josh Moody is one of my best buddies going through high school. And he also played college football from Harlingen. He played at Sam Houston State, played 5 years there. And, probably, all this stuff. And so he did a great job over there playing at Sam Houston State. I just went a little further. And, we've always stayed in touch. And, it is, man. Your football buddies are like your brothers, man. You stay in close in touch and contact with them and all that stuff. And then, Josh is an amazing story, man. He really is. He really is an amazing story. I'm going to say it real quick. Hopefully I'm not he's been very successful and does great things, but hopefully I'm not saying too much, or embarrassing him. But shout out to Josh Moody, by the way. Okay. So he graduated from Sam Houston State, came back, and it's a great story because we kind of came from the same background. He was applying for jobs, but no one wanted to hire him. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to hire him, all this stuff. So he worked at a fruit stand at a packing shed. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was working, making $10-12 an hour and all that stuff, doing packing stuff. But one of these days, he just said, you know what? He said he thought he could sell. What happened was they put him in a position to try to sell cantaloupe for the packing shed, and he sold a big old trailer worth. And then of course the guy comes up, how'd you sell that? He goes, I've been trying for 10 years. And the guy's like, I don't know. I just talked to him, sold the whole thing. He was like, oh my God. And so it was a huge. So then that's when he kind of figured out that he could sell, and provide for the clients and customers and all this stuff. So he took a leap of faith, left the Valley, opened up his own mortgage business, worked his butt off, worked his tail off, and now he's where he's at now, and does a great job. And now, thing about him, what I love is that, he still comes down, does a thing. We got a lot of developments going on here in Harlingen that we're trying to do, and we're slowly but surely growing. We would like to venture out. We've got a gated community that's being done. Should be released here shortly. It's with hold on, let me see here. It's with he teamed up with a builder in Jason County as a developer as well. He's not only a builder, but he's also getting development stages. So shout out to Jason Cano and Ness. He's our preferred builder as well. And also Josh and him have combined together to start that development, which is called the Enclave. And then Josh has done his own development, and now we're selling multifamily, and we're building those as well. So we're doing that, and also the mortgage lending business. And then we're also we're the top selling in the region for mobile homes. We sell those too as well. and we also do the mobile home financing as well. So we do
Oh,
that.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to get a lot of realtors like, hey man, how do you know that? Because I mean, I guess mobile home financing is kind of tough to find, huh?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah,
Okay, so in regards to the mobile home financing, does it already have to be on a particular lot, or how does that work for you guys?
we've done both. It can be on the lot, or we can sell you a product that we have. You know what I'm saying? To put on a lot, and they can combine it, or you can go find a product from somewhere else, right? To put on a lot as well. So since we sell mobile homes, right, it's only fitting that we're able to do the financing for them as well, and then also provide the financing for you as realtors. I just got one today that a realtor reached out to me, which I think was, she was trying to look for someone to finance a mobile home. She couldn't find anybody, the lending, and she finally reached out to me and said, yeah, we can do it. So I'm going to put it in ASAP.
I'll have to pick your brain a little bit more about that at a later conversation. Just curious how that works. So we'll talk about that. Hey, Rolly, real quickly, man. I want to discuss real quickly. What I know we talked a little bit about. I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought, but I wanted to come back to you and your connections. I know you mentioned John Quinones from time to time. What is John Quinones to you?
Oh, John. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to see if he get on. I know I sent him the link. See, make a surprise visit. We're very excited for him. His show, in case you don't know, but What Would You Do? That show comes back on prime time in the middle of February. I don't know exactly the date, but this is February 19th that has come on. Obviously, it went away a little bit because of COVID, and now they're getting back and going, get it going, all that stuff. But John Quinones has been a family friend for a long time. Obviously, just like you or like any of us, we all got to start from somewhere, right? Right. And so John, an aspiring journalist, you know what I'm saying, worked hard, did little things, and like any kind of, growing up, Latino, you know what I'm saying, in San Antonio, he was a migrant. You know what I'm saying? He was a migrant worker and all that stuff. So my brother, who is a producer, he no longer is, but he lives in LA now. But him and John have worked a couple of assignments together, going to Cuba and doing some different stuff, some cool stories, man. Like, for one, John and my brother, they went into Cuba illegally to try to get a story on what's going on with,
illegally?
Correct, with Fidel Castro, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I mean, some of the stuff you got to do in order to make sure you can put a name for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they did that illegally, and my brother like, yeah, man, that was crazy. We went there. Well, what happened was they checked into a hotel room, okay, but they put their names down and then used an alias name for another hotel room to stay at, and then they were doing their whole journalism stuff. But then when the Cubans went to go look for them at the hotel room, that's when they jetted to get out to Cuba and get the stuff they needed. You know what I'm saying? It came out.
They sound like spies, dude. Why lie?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, I mean, it was. And it's great stuff.
I always think about that. Like I'll watch CNN or the news, and they got these news reporters that are out there on in the other side of the world and whatnot. So I always think about them like, are they really just news reporters or are they spies? You know what I mean? So I always think about them like that. Like, hey man, because they're out there. How do they get in front of the front lines?
Right.
Reporters, man, they're crazy. Props to them.
And then another one was, man, is like, of course, when you're young, man, you don't think about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're young and you're just going through the process. Well, another one was, man, I was like, he was trying to see how migrants got across. You know what I'm saying? So he went to Mexico, pretend he was a migrant and report about it and all that stuff. And he went through the whole stages of the tunnels and all that stuff and whatever it may be, and reported on that. And then crossing the river, and how do they cross the river? Well, he said he got on a flotation device and crossed the river with them and all this stuff. And of course, about 2 years ago, it's kind of funny. Like, but 2 years ago, he came down for a speech in Brownsville. So he calls me up, hey, let's go have dinner. It's like, oh, let's go have dinner. We have dinner. So we go look a little small place there in Brownsville. Right? It's right next to Best Buy, right there in Brownsville. So nobody was pretty much there. There was only one person, right? And of course, that person on the side, you saw, was an older lady. She just kept on. And then she just kept on. So she kept on looking at us and all that stuff. And so finally she came up to us and she's like, are you John Quinones? She's like, oh, yeah, man. So they took a picture and all that stuff. Well, anyways, Chili's on the other side, right, of that bar, of that restaurant. So we go to Chili's, we walk in, and of course, we're just there at Chili's and no one recognized him. You know what I'm saying? So he was loving it because he's like, hey, because I've been to times where he's a great dude, man. But he sit down, he eat, and man, there's been like 50 people come and take pictures with him. His meal's getting cold and all that stuff. I felt bad, you know what I'm saying? I like, hey man, it's part of the business and all that stuff. It was me, man. I'd been like, man, I gotta eat first, man. We'll talk later. You know what I'm saying?
We'll take pictures after I eat.
After I do the meal.
Dude,
yeah.
Pictures.
Yeah, and I've been there with him. We're like, he's eating his meal. And he's like, hey, man, he told him, like, hey, can I finish my meal? And I'll take a picture, man, whatever you want, and all this stuff, and autograph and be. Well, the guy just stood there right next to him, just looked at him. As John's eating, just like, oh, I forgot. Here we go. Let's take a picture and all this stuff. But anyway, we're sitting there and all this stuff. So he's telling me about crossing that flotation device. I go, hey, man, what would have happened if that flotation device, like, flipped over or something? And he just looked at me. He's like, shit, I never realized that. I'm like, you're like, man, you could have drowned, dude. Like, I know, man. So, he was just an inspiring guy, family friend, and all this stuff. And think about it, he's grown and now he's big time. And it's pretty cool, man, that some of the things he's done. Like, he'll send me pictures of him and Canelo golfing or him and, J-Lo hanging out or, him, yes, what would you do? That's right. Coming on soon, Abigail. And just sends me a picture of that and, and interviews and, the mariachi band. And so, he still has come to his roots here in San Antonio. And anytime he comes to the Valley, he's helped me out by talking to the kids and all that stuff and whatever it may be. And I know he did a bunch of stuff, man. So he's a good dude and whatever it may be. And,
Asia.
Hello, Asia. How you doing? And so, but the best part, okay, here's the best part about when you have John Quiones, man, it helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? So if we do 10 deals, Luciano, I will take you to a Dallas Cowboys game, put you in a nice hotel room, and I will take you to the Dallas Cowboys Club. Okay, how about that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dallas Cowboys Club. Any realtor out there, 10 deals, Dallas Cowboys Club, all that stuff. It's great because I've only been to Dallas Cowboys once, right? But Josh has and this is kind of some small world. This is how small of a world it is. All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay. Josh has a membership. So we're there, and I'm with a guy. It's me, Josh, Bo Haley, right? And shout out to Bo Haley. But Haley is not born and raised at all here in the Valley, but he knows a lot about the Valley because his parents are from Harlingen. But he met Josh in Dallas because he just walked into the show like, hey, man, I want to work for you. And he goes, oh, okay. So then they started talking about Harlingen I think his parents were the CEOs of JCPenney or something like that. Okay. And then I need to speak. I'll work on that one, Abigail. I'll work on that. I promise you. I'll work on that one. But anyways, so John Quiones, I told John, hey man, we did this because we did his financing and all that stuff, whatever it may be. And so we all had dinner there at the Dallas Cowboys Club. So it's me, John, Josh, Bo. We're having dinner and all that stuff. And it's cool. You look up and like, oh man, there's Rob Lowe in the corner. You can't take pictures or video. So there's Rob Lowe in the corner, like, oh shoot. Rob Lowe's over there. I'm like, oh man, I'm freaking out. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking on the other side, right? And you see like Kid Rock in the corner over there. I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's cool. So, anyways, I'm there eating my meal, steak, and all of a sudden, I feel a hand touch my shoulders, and I look up. I'm like, holy shit, it's Jerry Jones. You know what I'm saying?
It's cool.
Jerry Jones. Yeah, with his two sons. You know what I'm saying? And Jerry Jones sits down with Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones Jr., right? Because John's there. They want to talk to John, right? They don't want nothing about me and all this stuff, right? But anyways, but they're talking to John Quiones and all this stuff, and I'm there like, trying to be all proper with my eating and all this stuff. And of course, he asked me where I'm from, Harlingen, and all this stuff. And Josh is like, hey, just laughing, of course, and John just talking to him, and then. And so it's really been a cool thing to watch his evolution as far as where he's been, where he comes from, and what he's gone through to get where he's at and where he's been. That's pretty much what his message is, and what for all of us, where we want to be at the end. When we're all said and done.
Yeah. Hey, so you say you saw Jerry Jones and whatnot. How many times have you seen Jerry Jones?
Me in person?
Yeah,
once. That was the only time.
Once. I seen him once too, man. Recently for the games here at UT, I got season tickets for the UT games, so I go and so I didn't know. Maybe you knew that his grandson was a football player at the University of Texas.
I thought it went to maybe there's another one, but I know the one of them went to Arkansas.
Perhaps, yeah. But there was a grandson here at the University of Texas, and he shows up and he's walking on the football field. I was like, why is Jerry Jones? Who's he going to recruit?
Right.
But he was walking on the football field, and but apparently he had a grandson or a son. I don't know which one it is. I think it was a grandson because people were talking about it because we all saw him. Hey, Jerry Jones. I didn't know that was his grandson or something like that. People were all talking about that. So yeah, I've seen Jerry Jones once, I guess, in person. Maybe not as close as you, but I saw him there. But so you're a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
America's team.
team.
That's kind of that's a hard trigger point to talk about right now, huh?
So let me ask you a question because I grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Right.
I did. I'm no longer a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Ooh.
I guess maybe somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a little bit of the young Luciano Martinez when he was young that still wants to be a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I'm not. And I think the reason for that, and maybe you have your reasons for not being, but being that I grew up as a Cowboys fan, but what happened was I started to have these friends of mine, the acquaintances of mine that I played football with at university and went off to play with the Cardinals, went off to play with the Eagles. So instead of following a particular football team, I followed the players from the University of Texas. I like that football team because, Sam Acho played for it. Or when Lamar Houston was over with the Raiders, I watched a couple of the games there. Or, when Keyston Randolph was one of my closer friends in the D-line. He went to play with the Vikings and with the Dolphins for a little bit. But that's the people that I followed more so than the team. There's a little man in me back here in the back of my mind says, hey, you still want to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm not. I cannot. I'd rather just go watch the teams that the UT football players come from. But with that said, Rolly, I'll tell you another thing, man. While I was coaching football, I could not watch a football game.
Really?
I could not watch football. I could not come home on a Sunday afternoon to come watch football at home. I couldn't do that. I don't know how if you did or no man not see. I just I got enough football for the day. I got enough football for the year.
Your mind was shutting down, was shut off.
Yeah, so I could not watch football while I was coaching. I'll tell you what though, I quit coaching and I started watching all these games. And I'll coach. I'll be like, hey man, that guy's in trips or that guy's in doubles, or that single tag, or double tight ends with wings or whatever the situation may be. I'll coach on the couch, while I'm watching football. But I could not watch football, at least the NFL football, because UT I still watch, but I could not watch NFL football while I was coaching. It's just kind of weird, man. Yeah, but ask me now I'll watch football. Before I was a football player, before I was coaching, I could watch football. But while I was coaching it, I could not watch football. No me nacía. It just wouldn't work out for me.
Right. For me, I'm a football junkie. I love it. I watch it all the time, even when I was coaching, and now I love it. I still watch it, and some of these guys, coaches, I've reached out to them. They won't give me their huddle pass, but I wish they would give me their huddle pass, coach, so I can go watch a little film on, for varsity film and all this stuff. I love it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a football junkie. I can watch it. And sometimes it annoys people because when I'm watching the game, they'd be like, the yellow flag, it's holding the right tackle. You can tell he just tackled him so-and-so. What happened? All this stuff. It goes, or something happens. I said, he's got to throw to 88 DCD land because of this. And he throws to him. How'd you know that? Because coverages and all this stuff. So, but I'm a football junkie guy.
So were you ever an offensive coordinator?
I was once at Harlingen South, yes. Yeah, and I was offered opportunities when I was in Harlingen to be the offensive coordinator at Westco under Mike Salinas. I said no because I want Harlingen because I'm giving back because obviously I've told you my story, my background, and that kind of rubbed people the wrong way here in Harlingen. So,
yeah. I was going to tell you something. I lost my train of thought. So hold on. Give me a quick second. I got my phone is – so I have it on silent. My phone is on silent, but my watch is not. So that's what lost my train of thought. So one time recently, so when I quit coaching, I quit coaching, and a year later, I got asked if I wanted to go back to coaching and to be a defensive coordinator, but I wasn't ready for a defensive coordinator. I don't think that I wanted to be a head coach when I first started coaching. I wanted to be a head football coach. that was kind of like the goal. Hey, I'm gonna go through my steps, be a position coach, be a coordinator, and then go and climb up the ladder, right? But I got asked if I wanted to be a defensive coordinator at one point. I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna be okay. And I probably should have thought about it a little bit more, but I didn't want to go back to coaching because I had already just quit coaching. And they wanted me to go to a different school, and they kind of like offered it, quote unquote, without actually offering it. But I was like, nah, I'll be fine. And I guess I was gonna run the 3-3 stack because that's the only defense I know how to run. That's the only thing, man. Like that's the only thing I know how to run. Like obviously, I know the defense that we run. And you know what? And the funny story is, every time do you doodle? I doodle. Do you doodle?
I do. Yes, you just kind of write down stuff and plays, or just within your mind.
I will draw an offense and defense side of the field, and I'll just kind of like screw around and GT pool or whatever the situation.
Right.
And I'm doodling football plays. How I'm gonna stop them if they attack me and whatnot. I always do that. I always doodle football stuff on my piece of papers. But I don't think that I could be a defense, because that's the only defense I know how to run is a 3-3 stack, right? But I always doodle a 4-2. Like I always draw up a 4-2 with a nose, a 0 shade or a 1 tech and a 3 tech, and then 5s. I draw them up against tight ends, and I always draw them up with they're out here 7 techs. But I don't draw the stack as often as I probably should, even knowing the fact that I learned the stack. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that if I was gonna ever run a defense, it'd probably be a 4-2 or a combination of the 4-2 with the stack is what I would probably do. I don't know, but I don't. So somebody asked, I don't know, I'm sure you heard, but at La Jolla, there's a position available for all 3 schools.
Yes.
So a lot of people were asking, how come you don't apply? How come you don't apply? Well, first, I don't apply because I was under the impression that you had to be a coordinator for 2 or 3 years before you can apply to be a head coach. That's the first thing. Secondly, if I was going to go be a head coach, I don't want to be an athletic coordinator. And I'll leave it at that, because I'm sure at the other schools too, around the valley, if you're a head football coach, you're also the athletic coordinator for the high school.
Correct.
I don't think I would want to be the athletic coordinator. Give me the head football coach. I'll teach 2 or 3 classes, call it a day. I'll do that, but I don't think that I would want to be the athletic coordinator for the entire school. I mean, am I wrong for thinking that?
I mean, it's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a big responsibility, but I mean, that's how they kind of coordinate, your job title, because as head football coach, where you don't have to be in the classroom because they want you in, as far as, the supervisor meetings and, your whatever, if they have, sometimes now they have that, Real Sports Live where you have to go talk there and be out and about in the public or whatever it may be. So that's how they kind of, so it's just part of the thing. But yeah, being an athletic coordinator is tough. It's a tough position.
But because quote unquote, when do you actually coach football when you're an athletic coordinator? You got to be on top of all the other sports at the same time. Volleyball and football are concurrently going at the same time. So you got to be on top of that. Basketball comes right up. Wrestling, as soon as football season's over, wrestling kicks in, basketball kicks in. Softball and baseball start to kick up in the spring. So you have all these sports that you have to be, supervising, if you will, and making sure that everybody's. So when do you coach the football? So that's the reason why. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry, I need to interrupt, man. But I know when I was at Emmerich Vela, right? Shout out to the SaberCats, by the way. I know when I was getting towards the ladder, towards almost the year before I left, right? I think, that's the year and I think Harlingen has kind of gone in that direction, but the athletic coordinator position now become a male athletic coordinator position and a female. So they kind of split the duties, and I guess it's kind of, lessen the workload or responsibilities.
That'll help a lot, dude. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And if anybody hearing this, just so you guys know, that's the way to go. That'll get them secretaries, right? Get them secretaries. Because so at La Jolla, they didn't have, not to talk, it's better, right? But but they don't.
What they say in La Jolla, like was it chile, tomate, cebolla?
Chile, tomate, cebolla, nada le gana La Jolla.
There
but
you go.
see, the head coach doesn't have a secretary, dude. Doesn't have a secretary. Doesn't have any of that.
Wow.
So he's doing all the paperwork, or they're doing all the paperwork all themselves. So I don't know. That to me, I don't know if the secretary is a solution or what you just said right now, or I'm sure there's got to be a solution for it because, if I'm gonna be the head football coach, I want to be fully invested into my football thing. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, but I haven't. So people ask, how can we even apply? I'm not gonna apply. I don't think I'm ready to be a head football coach. I have some ideas. For starters, it would be like mentally toughen up everybody. Like I said this before, I'm gonna coach Carter the shit out of that, man. Like I'm gonna be Coach Carter in the football program. That's how I would spearhead my football program. No pass, no play. You're gonna bring me nothing lower than a B. You're gonna bring me nothing lower than a B. If I have to sit down with you and tutor you myself in your math classes because I taught math, I would do that myself. So I'll figure that out. That's how I envision myself as a head coach. When I ever decide to be a head coach, I'm gonna coach Carter the shit out of that. That's the way I see it. But yeah, man, that's just kind of like my 2 cents on that.
Went back to when we first started the podcast and where this continued after the podcast, the venting. So,
well, yeah, man, I have a lot to say about all this, dude. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we can go talk back about real estate and the loan stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the landscape of lending right now. What are some trends that you're seeing currently in the world of lending?
Well, right now, obviously, usually our slow months is like, towards the end of December, middle of December towards the middle of February, right? And so right now, what I'm seeing is there's still not a lot of inventory out there. So new builds are kind of like the in thing, you know what I'm saying? And affordable new homes as far as new builds, because, there's a lot of people that, when COVID happened, got that low interest rate, got that price in the home. Now they're not leaving, to build another home. They're just going to stay in the home that they have with that low rate. And so now I think the building has gone and has been the trend to more multifamily, where people are investing and all understand that, maybe I need to invest in my multifamily, all that stuff. So building mobile homes is another one that I've seen that the trend is kind of going up. Mobile homes, manufacturing of them has gone way up. They're beautiful. I went to one when Josh there in Oklahoma, and man, they're beautiful. They're beautiful homes and all that stuff. So to me, that's because they're also affordable. They're at great pricing. You can get a nice, good, beautiful single wide for like $79,000, something like that.
A single what? What'd you say?
A single wide.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh man, I heard single, I heard beautiful, and I heard wife. I was like, man, what?
I do have a beautiful single. No, she's not single, but I do have a beautiful wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out to my wife, by the way.
My wife is beautiful too. Shout out to her.
Yeah. Valentine's getting close. We gotta take care of that. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but so a trend I've seen lately, and more so in the last week, is people are starting to ask me about, hey man, what can I do to rent my home out? And you're right. People are not wanting to let go. I'm not wanting to let go of my interest rate. Why am I going to let go of a 2.7, 2.8? You know what I mean? That's the rate I have. Why am I going to let go? And I see my clients' points. I don't want to let go of that interest rate. I can use that home as a rental property, and then I'll go get myself with the equity that I have in my house. I can go get myself a new house or an investment property. So I see that happening in the last week or so. I've seen that influx of, hey man, I'm thinking about renting my house. What can you help me out with, or how can you because they want to rent out their home because they want to hold on to that interest rate. And same thing with me. I want to hold on to my interest rate currently. But dude, let's be honest, man. Shit's expensive, dude. Like across the board, everything's expensive. You go grocery shopping, it's expensive. And I like to tell this story to some clients that are like debating, that are on the fence about buying a house or whatnot. Give me a quick second. They're on the fence about buying or not. So I tell this story all the time. Luciano Martinez, the teacher and football coach in 2017, bought his house for $140,000 with a 4.7 interest rate. Luciano Martinez, the teacher and coach's salary has stayed pretty much the same over the last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his salary didn't increase. I mean, the teacher salary didn't go up, right? But the price of that home today has doubled.
Correct.
My house today doesn't sell for less than 255 to 60.
Correct.
You know, and I bought it for 140. Luciano Martinez, with that same salary, could not afford that same house. And that's the sad part. But I use this story to tell my to relate to my clients, because it's the truth. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, as a real estate agent, you got to eat. So you're trying to convince them, hey, it's time. You have equity in your house, you know, which is true. I have chingles of equity in my house.
Right.
It's doable, so I can use that equity to say I'm going to sell my house and put it as a down payment. So that's the story that I say to my clients, you know, and that's the truth. You know, that's how it works. You know, but I get them. I understand them, because, dude, everything I do in my life, dude, to buy this pen, it took me about 3 or 4 months to buy this pen. That's just the pen. You know, to buy this mouse, it took me about 5 or 6, 7 months, because I was doing all my research on it. You know what I mean? And then just buy the mouse from one day to the other. I'm exaggerating the story, of course, right? But everything I do is I go through a thought process. I don't know if you know this, but I have little Rottweiler puppies.
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah.
So a prospect buyer comes to the house and he sees one of the puppies. He goes, Mr. Martinez, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna come and visit you 2 to 3 different times before I buy the puppy. And I was like, dude, don't even worry about it. I got you. I understand exactly what you're talking about. I do the same thing. I go to Best Buy and look at the computer 3 or 4 or 5 different times before I make the purchase on that computer. So I'm totally I understand. But that's just, again, I tell this story because I relate to as a teacher, I guess, is you find those relatable events, you know, and you try to make them feel. I don't know about you, but I have this pretty good gift of empathy. And I can just like really kind of like in tune myself with them, you know? And I think that's what makes me, I guess, a good educator. So I guess I can really in tune myself.
You can relate with them and all that stuff.
Exactly. So I've always had that little small gift of empathy, man. But yeah, so I do see that trend right now with right now. I think people are wanting to hang on to that interest rate because they see a lot of investment potential into it.
Right.
And then they can maybe I do see a lot of new construction. In fact, I'm about to take a listing here in a while where it's in a very competitive area because it's in a subdivision where it's nothing but new construction. And so, you know, the question is, Mr. Martinez, how long is it going to take for us to sell? And the truth of the matter is you're competing with new construction. So you're going to have to, one, have a competitive price. 2, you're going to have to maybe offer a concession here or concession there and be willing to negotiate. You know, the advantage is your home is ready to move in. You know, the disadvantage is that those houses have to be built. So, you know, you find as a real estate agent, as a salesperson, I guess, you find the solution, right, to the problem. And, you know, I'm a math teacher too, so I gotta solve these problems all the time, baby.
Got to, man. Always gotta find ways to, you know, make a sale, right? But think about it, those that, like you said, you know, like those new construction going up, but making them affordable construction. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, people ask me, you know, and I don't know how you think about this. I'm gonna ask this question to you. You know, I'm telling people right now, you know, I understand prices are higher, but really the best time to buy right now would be right now.
Yes, I also think the same thing.
Because the thing about it, I think people have a switch where, oh, I'm waiting for the rates to go down. Well, the problem is that $200,000 home that you're buying, once the rates go down, now it's going to 250, and then you're competing with 30 other people, you know, for that home. Where now, you know, you're you know, let's say you were to build, you know, for example, COVID was just crazy, right? COVID was just amazingly crazy, you know, and you know, I got this client right now that we're building his house. Well, he's building 1,000 square foot bigger home than his neighbor, but he's building it for $150 a square foot, where his neighbor during COVID built it for $205 a square foot.
Oh, wow.
So, but he got the low rate, but now when they go back to comps and want to sell his house, they got to go by his neighbor next to him, of the comps, $150 square foot. So he lost a lot of value in his home. So,
yeah.
and so,
But generally speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said he lost a lot of value, but generally speaking, real estate tends to go up.
Correct. Yes.
So,
yes.
Like it's always, and that's what I tell people all the time too, is that it now is the time to buy.
Correct.
Because tomorrow that same house has probably gone up 15, 20, 25%.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So I always
I mean, he didn't lose. I mean, let's talk value because, where a painter is like $1 a square foot, let's say he charges $1 a square foot. Well, back then there was 50 homes being built and 10 painters, 20 painters, and contractors are competing for that painter because he needs the house done, right, to make his money.
Yeah.
But now there's 20 painters with 10 homes being built, and now painters are dropping their costs, which now is dropping the price of the home to sell.
That's basic economics, man.
There you go, baby. Mathematician right there.
Dude. Like that's basic economics. You can't go wrong with the basic ideas. And people always talk about, oh, we didn't learn this shit in high school, and you're right. But you learn basic economics. I remember very distinctively supply and demand, baby. Supply and demand. And I always tell people we don't fucking teach all the stuff that we're supposed to teach in high schools. But I remember teaching supply and demand. I do that. Right. So that's trend lines,
Right.
So
by now, and then when the rates go back down again, you know what I'm saying, the mid fours or low fours, you find that bill curve and just refinance it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I tell people. Because real estate has a way of going up. And I don't think it has a way of going down. It does it have its little dips? I do think so, but like I'm never gonna see my house at 140,000 ever again. There's no way. I'll see it. I think the lowest I could ever possibly see my house is probably 225, 230,000 if the market takes a huge dip. I don't think it will. I honestly think that in about 2 or 3 years, my house is gonna be worth 300,000. Maybe 5 years. 2 or 3 years is too quick. Anyways, Rolly, moving forward, what advice would you give to future home buyers and maybe potentially aspiring loan officers and aspiring realtors?
Well, the advice first of all, let's go with the clients, right? My advice right now to them is that, get pre-approved first. You know what I'm saying? Most important thing is pre-approval. And we can help you that. I can help you with that, or whoever you may choose as far as your lender. But getting pre-approved first, because understanding, how much your buying power is, and then a lot of it also is knowing, like, okay, when you get pre-approved, you can understand, where you need to go. You know what I'm saying, and all this stuff. And here's another one. I'm gonna back you on this one. Is when you get pre-approved, to me, always get a realtor if you're looking for a home, to me, because they are your lawyer to buying a home. As far as that, I mean, when it comes to lawyer, they know the paperwork, they know the comps, they know all that stuff. They are your representation to buying a home.
The huge disclaimer: we're not lawyers.
Yeah, that's true. But
we're not allowed to practice law, baby.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So I just had to put that out there just in case John's listening to me.
So yeah. So I mean, think about it is that get pre-approved, and then with us, man, I know we're here at Josh Me Loans. Think about those that even if you're not pre-approved, don't get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll find a way how to help you to get your credit score up. We've got outlets for that. We'll do things differently as far as like, okay, what do we need to do? Take 3 months. Maybe you need a card. You know what I'm saying? Like a prepaid card. We'll find ways to get your credit score up and tell you what we need to pay down, what needs to go on in order to get you pre-approved and moving forward. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. And then also when it comes to, I'm not a loan officer. I'm a representation of Josh, you know what I'm saying? Because he's so busy. My job is to get all those application ins for him. But I know as a loan officer, the biggest deal with Josh that makes him so great at what he does is that communication is key. You know what I'm saying? Communication is key. Think about it. For us, we're streamlined to the top. All you got to do is call me. It could be midnight. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. If I answer, I'm going to find out, what we need to do, get you that pre-approval letter, what we need to do for the client, all that stuff, work around you to make sure that not only are we providing the customer service for the client, but also you as a realtor, because, you need us to make sure to get that pre-approval letter, and the client needs you to make sure they get that customer service to get that home.
Yeah. And I always tell potential and prospect buyers, go with the people that we recommend. I mean, obviously they have a choice to go with whoever they want, but go with go with you guys, Josh Moody Loans, or go with a local bank. Do not go with Chase. Do not go with Bank of America. Obviously, it is their choice,
Correct.
but you hit something that's crucial. And I think in every podcast I've had, I talk about this. Communication is key. If I'm negotiating a deal at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, Bank of America is not going to answer. Chase is not going to answer. So that's why I like my local lenders. So let's go with our bankers, the ones that we know. That I call Rolly at midnight because I'm negotiating a deal. I go, hey, Rolly, I need this, that. You take care of it. Boom, boom, let's go. That's how I feel. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Correct.
There's the communication. Obviously, we're not trying to negotiate in the middle of the night, but you never know.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes. You never know, like you say. You know what I'm saying?
You never know, man. So, what about for aspiring loan officers or lenders or people that are thinking about joining the real estate business?
I tell you what, man. Obviously, do I miss coaching? I do, but being in the real estate business has been fun, man. I've really enjoyed it, man. Networking. Obviously, I met one of your she did a shout out to again Diana Martinez. She does a great job too for your team, all stuff. We've gone out to lunch and breakfast a couple of times, hung out, great relationships with people. But my thing with them is with loan officers is that is when we go out there, I can't preach because I'm not a loan officer, like I said, so I'm there for Josh. But the thing about it though, what I love about Josh is that he's, being a loan officer is not easy. Okay. Oh, yeah. A lot of people say like, oh, let's go into being a loan officer and, they just do this and that. But no, it's a definite difficult job or situation. And, all I can say is that when you get out there, communicate and hustle,
Yes, sir. I apologize for my dog barking there.
No, I got you. One of your Rottweilers?
No, that's a Chihuahua, dude.
Oh, I got you.
She's more feisty than the Rottweilers. Man. Hey, man, you got any other things that you want to go ahead and preach about right here during the podcast before we call it a day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'm sorry, man. Well, first of all, I appreciate you inviting me on tonight, man. I really had a great time. I know we got into some conversation before we even we started the podcast. Before we started the podcast, right?
Yeah, we some people we're talking about whiskey.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, exactly. We're talking. I don't know if anyone's seen that show, Suits. Great show. Anyone seen that show? You know what I'm saying? We're talking about. Yeah,
Can't say a secret. Can't say a secret. I've seen it twice.
All the series.
Yes,
yeah, and
the second time I saw it all in a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, wow. I like that show, man. Every time I watched it, I felt like a lawyer afterwards.
Right.
I was like, yeah, man, you can't do that.
What's crazy to me is how they come back with all the little quick sayings. You know what I'm saying? All the little quick responses. I'm like, God dang,
Oh, well, it's scripted. Why lie?
Yeah, well, that's true. It is true, but it is.
That's how they're able to do that so fast. No, but you do have people like that in real life, man. Like another one that I like to watch too is The Lincoln Lawyer. It's on Netflix.
I've never seen that one yet.
It's
I thought you were going to tell me Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, I haven't seen that one. Is that one good?
You haven't seen that one? No. Yellowstone?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God. Oh, Kevin Costner, good? You know what I'm saying? All this stuff. Oh,
Kevin Costner's good. Man. I like it. I saw Kevin Costner.
I don't know if anyone's still on the podcast watching, but if anyone's seen Yellowstone, please give me a shout out that Yellowstone's great too. You know what I'm saying? Because Suits is awesome. But yeah, we're talking about our favorite whiskey and how I try to make Allen because that's Harvey Specter's favorite drink to choice. And I saw it on the show, so I tried it and I like it now. But then Luciano was telling me that it's a little too expensive. So
it's a little bit too expensive. I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. So I don't know if I'm a tequila guy or a whiskey guy. I like both of them.
Gotcha.
But like if I want to just chill, I'm gonna be a whiskey guy. And then we do got a comment right here real quickly. It says Yellowstone is awesome, baby.
There you go. Jalen knows what's up.
So I'm a whiskey for when I want to chill. I'm a whiskey guy, and it's just for me keep it simple. Jack and Coke. Let's call it a day. Sometimes just Jack, with some ice. What is it called? Jack on whiskey on the rocks or something like that.
Jack on the rock, on the rocks.
So I'm a Jack and Coke kind of guy. I did. I can do Crown as well. Crown and Sprite is what I normally drink, and then what's it called? Tequila. Any tequila. If I'm gonna party, it's gonna be tequila. Like to party, like
Ooh. Yeah.
if I want to sing, and I don't know, you know this, but I do karaoke. Not very good, but I do karaoke.
I sound better after I start drinking some more, right?
I keep the entire neighborhood up all night on Saturday night. So, one time I got so happy. I was outside. I ended up in the hot tub, and I had the karaoke going, and I was singing super loud. It was probably 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I live in a normal suburban neighborhood. My neighbor's right there. Got my other neighbor over there. Got my neighbors in the back. There's the street, and there's a neighbor over there. But I was singing loud enough where I'm pretty sure the McAllen, could hear me. I live in Michigan, so I was singing loud enough. I'm pretty sure I sounded horrific, but I was having a good time. It was some tequila. If I'm trying to party, it's gonna be tequila. If I'm trying to chill, it's gonna be whiskey. Chill also with some Budweiser. I'm a Budweiser guy.
Budweiser, wow.
Yeah, but my cat. I thought I did. Huh?
That's heavy. That's heavy drink. I'm a craft beer guy. I like my craft beers. I'm more of an IPA guy.
Like China or what, or a little bit more craft.
No, it's like it's just your typical, like your local beers. You know what I'm saying? When you travel, you go try the local beers. But I like craft, like the IPAs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I've had a couple of IPAs. Yeah, but I'm not a big IPA guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I don't know why I like my beers hoppy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Like the darker the beer, or what? Or do you want it?
Nah, not that dark. But I mean, just like just like a Love Street's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Just depending on what I'm into. But I'm just an IPA guy.
So what do you have in your fridge right now?
My fridge. I'm actually on the diet. So I cleared it out, man. I'm trying to lose some weight here, man. I'm trying to pull up. I did, man. It's the honest truth, man. I have not had a drink since the second. No, I don't know. It's been a while. I can't remember. It's been a while. I'm not so there's liquor. Just I have not drank.
Liquor is less calories, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Try to water it down.
So let me tell you a quick story before we end the night. But when I bought my house in 2017, I was still living with my parents. And I was drinking so heavily, dude, so heavily prior to 2017. I was going to Hillbillies Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. I was partying it up. A month, you could probably say I was spending upwards of $1,000 on liquor and alcohol. So, long story short, because there was a trigger for not drinking anymore. The year of 2017, and I made a New Year's resolution, if you will, to not drink. And I saved enough money from what was January to March to buy my house in May. So
that tells you how much money you were spending, huh?
Yes, most definitely. So in those 3 or 4 months, I saved enough money to buy my house. Not to mention the fact that what's it called? Apparently there was down payment assistance too, but I had that money. Did I save like $7,000 or $8,000 that I was able to use to buy furniture because I had down payment assistance? But that's the moral of the story. Like I saved all that money in those 3 or 4 months because I stopped drinking. And I stopped eating out too. Like I wasn't eating out for and that was actually the best shape I had gone in. I was like weighing 245, and I wasn't at my strongest just yet, but I was at my leanest at that point. I was like 245, and I was getting close to. I wanted to hit 650 in the squat and 450 in the bench. I wasn't there just yet, but I got real close to it at 245. I finally hit the number 650 and 450 when I got to about 255 to 60. But ask me if I can do that today.
Let me ask you a question. So when you were in college, your strength conditioning coach was Benny Wiley, right?
No, yes and no. It was actually Jeff Madden.
Okay.
Mad Dog. So I think Benny Wiley came in my junior year, going into my senior year. I have a story about that one too, dude. So Madden was our power explosion coach, and I learned a lot from him in terms of strength conditioning. But Benny, yes, definitely a legend. But Benny Wiley comes around my senior year, and he's the so there's two different. Obviously, I guess they do whatever they do, right? But there's two schools of thought there. Jeff Madden, Mad Dog was power explosion. and I think Benny Wiley was more fast. Let's go quick.
Fast
Let's
twitch. Right.
fast movements. You still wanted to do a lot of power, but it was a lot of more like fast movement, and it was good. It was great. It was fantastic. But I related more to the whole power and explosion. But anyways, long story short, so when Madden was the strength and conditioning coach, if I recall correctly, every Friday before game days, the seniors would be allowed to skip Friday morning workouts or something like that. Uh, so when Benny Wiley takes over, that stops. Friday seniors don't skip out the Friday morning workouts, and this is for the walk-ons. The walk-ons that had to come in on Friday mornings to work out, and
Right.
and the freshman scholarships as well. They you had to come in and work out on Friday mornings, but the seniors were allowed to skip that Friday morning, from what I recall. And so my senior year, we were working out on these Fridays, and then one of my friends, colleagues, he goes, "Hey, we should ask if we can skip out this Friday." And I asked Benny Wiley, "Can we skip out this Friday?"
I really, my mind was like, you said no, right? You're not gonna do it.
I asked if we could skip out on this workout, man. Man, did we get an earful, dude? Like, so we skipped out the workout, but come around the next workout, we got this like earful resentment from the ones that were there because they went through even a much harder workout, and I was like, no way. So no la rayaron, como quien dice, los guys that worked out and whatnot. So. But yeah, man, that was Benny White is a cool cat too, man. Shout out to him. He's over at USC now. The last I heard, I don't know if there's been any coaching changes.
He's still there, yeah.
Dude, speaking of coaching changes, man, what is going on with college football, dude? All those changes, man. I hated that the Bo Davis. I love the guy to death, man. I really do. He was my D-line coach at UT. The second D-line coach, because you had Mike Tollison the first when I was there as a freshman, sophomore. But Bo Davis, dude, is I love that guy to death. He's a great defensive line coach, dude. And he's over at LSU now, man. I didn't want to see him leave, but he left. But you got all these guys, man, all these changes that happen. Nick Saban retired, Belichick and whatnot. And I think the coaching world was like, oh shit, but
I mean, these coaches are legendary, but at some point in time, man, they just get old, But of course, then the landscape of college football has changed so much, and to the point where I don't know how you feel, but when I was watching the bowl games, I was bored. The bowl games were boring. Now the college football players are great, but I'm talking about all the other bowl games because,
oh yeah,
you didn't know who's showing up to play or who wasn't playing and who's held out and all this stuff or who transferred and whatever it may be. Now, don't get me wrong, the top four were great games. Don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about all the games. Like, I mean, you had guys that like are not playing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or they're transferring before the bowl game, where they're a whole different team. Before you, like, I'm looking at Florida State when they played Georgia. I mean, pretty much the whole team just didn't play.
And dude, man, they were getting so pissed at the fact that they didn't make the playoffs, dude. But like, bro, you weren't that good, dude. Like, I get it. You all were an undefeated team, but come on, man.
Right. But I mean, it's NIL has changed. Like, for example, my brother-in-law, he's pissed because he's a big K-State guy and fan and all this stuff. And of course, now Will Howard, their quarterback, he's got paid more money. Now he's at Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
Well, now it's all the landscape has changed.
That's changed a lot, man. And I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think it's cool that there's these NIL deals, but at the same time, like, you want them to do it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I guess great name, image, likeness, or whatever the situation may be, but I would like for them for football players. I go back to the student mindset, the athlete mindset. Do it for the right reasons. You picked your program at the University of Texas. Do it for the right reasons. Go balls out for the right reasons, and that's the way I feel. But I get it too, man. There's money to be made. You know, I'm in it for the money. So I'm on the fence. I really am on the fence because, you know, it changed. You're 100% correct. It changed the landscape of college football.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, think about it. It's hard to coach that. It's hard to coach the kid that's, let's say, he's a 5-star recruit, top talent. Coach him hard because you may piss him off, and now I'm transferring. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm like, dude, you're like, what? You know, where now, back then, you know, he had to buy into your coaching because he was pretty much stuck there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's just changed. But I mean, like you said, man, it just changed. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes moving forward.
Sir. Yes, sir. All right, Rolly. Well, let me just do a couple key summarize a couple key takeaways from the podcast, and then we can go ahead and call it a night real quick. For anybody that's still on watching the show, first of all, I want to thank you, Rolly, for being on the show. I know it's not always easy to make time for these things, especially when you only have 1 or 2 or 3. I'll be honest with you, we had about over the course of the entire thing, we had at least 7 or 8 or 9. At some point, we got 14. Now we have 5 watching. But I know it's not easy for an individual to give up some of their time to be here, you know. But these are gonna be, and I'll give you the link later on too. These do get recorded on YouTube and obviously on Facebook, and so. As soon as it goes live on YouTube, which is actually live now on YouTube. But yeah, man, just want to thank you for being here and appreciate your time. You know, that's the biggest one. Thank you for your input and thank you for your insight on, you know, whether it's football or lending and development and all that good stuff and your insight with, you know, telling the clientele to, hey, use your realtor. You know, use your realtor. It's always good to use your realtor. I don't know if you have any other key points you want to go ahead and maybe summarize it yourself.
No, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. I really enjoy your podcast, man. And we got to get together soon. I'll take you out to lunch, man, on me. You know what I'm saying? We'll get together soon and definitely like to speak to you more about our developments, what's going on. I know you probably meet Diana, you know, a lot, but she knows all about the developments and, you know, there's multifamily to single family, all that stuff. And, any clients that want to come out to Harlingen and move out here, there's opportunity for that.
Cool beans, man. Yeah, man, for sure. Well, Rolly, without further ado, I won't take any more time. Actually, just hang back real quickly. I'm just going to go ahead and end this real quick. And if anybody has any questions, we have Rolly's number here right underneath his name, Josh Moody Loans, 956-357-7799. If you have any questions about getting into a house or whatnot, give him a call. Give me a call, and you know, you got my number there, 956-862-1556. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for engaging. And if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to either one of us. All right, y'all have a good one.
Bye, guys.